Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a great day. I know a lot of my friends in my area, it's the first week back to school. I know a lot of other friends, though, across the states and across the world that have been back for a while now. So if this is your week back to school, happy back to school. And again, happy Monday. It's good to see you all. Welcome back to Monday Kick in the Pants. Angela Fallon here, bringing you a gentle push to help you level up in your life, fill you with a dose of Monday motivation, and provide tips to accelerate your success in life and in your career. So, today I wanted to talk to you all about what I call the big rocks. Someone was asking me the day if I would talk to her team about time management, kind of organization. I'm like, well, time organization and time management are very similar, but there's a few things that I like to talk to people about. Very simple time management tricks and tips that have helped me. And honestly, y'all know that I live and die by my schedule, and I do. But there's really simple things that you can start with before you go create like an elaborate schedule in your calendar, on your Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever, wherever you keep yourself organized. Mine has evolved over time, and so it doesn't take me long to manage it. Now it takes time to set things up, and here I am at the beginning of a new school year where I'm setting up, drop off and pick up times. My kids are now going to different schools. My youngest moved up from elementary into intermediate, and my middle son just left middle school and is headed into high school with his older brother. So things are changing across the board. And even though my two older are in the same school, they're not on the same schedule. My middle one's doing cross country, which means he has to be there really early to run in the morning. And then the middle one, or my oldest, will be getting out early because he will be doing a different sport this year, and it's not on campus. So, anyways, but there are things that you can do though to quickly get your schedule in place and help you get the right things done more often by just a few tips. So today I'm offering 3 tips. I call it the big rocks. If you've ever heard me tell this story, you can, tune out for 30 seconds. But if you haven't, it's something that really keeps me in check on why it's important to put the most important things first on your calendar. So if you've ever been in kindergarten and your teacher has a big glass jar and she has rocks and little pebbles and sand and water and asks, can you put all of these things in that jar? And some kids will say yes, some will say no. Well, first she puts all of the big rocks in, and it looks like it fills up the glass jar because the rocks are all the way to the top. And she'll ask the class, all right, do you think there's now room for these other pebbles? And most kids will say no, it's already full of the big rocks. And then she shakes the bigger medium-sized pebbles into the jar, and they sift into the big rocks, and it's still not overflowing yet. And then she'll say, okay, well, what about the sand? Do you think there's room for the sand? And some may say yes, and some may say no. And then she dumps the sand into the glass jar with big rocks and now smaller rocks, and the sand sifts down and through the crevices and holes that are still in the jar. Then she has a glass of water, a large glass of water, and asks, is there room for the water? And again, some may say yes and some may say no. But then you pour the water in, and there's still room for the water. So the important thing of this lesson is put the big rocks in first. Because if you started with the water and then the sand and then the small rocks and then tried to put the big rocks in afterwards, it would not fit. You have to put the big rocks in first, and you have to schedule your time the same way. So the big rocks in this case are the things that are most important to you. And I normally tell people pick 3 to 5, but here lately, I really keep telling people just pick 3. What are the top 3 things you need to do today when you look at your calendar? And pick which is the first and most important one. You should schedule these things, all 3 of them, before 10 a.m. You heard me. Schedule the most 3 important things on your calendar, or even put it on a sticky note and here, like a little post-it note, put the first one on there, or just list the top 3 things you need to do and mark which one is number 1. You need to pick the number 1 thing that if it's the only thing you got done today, you would be proud of yourself. That is your number 1 thing to get done. You work on that first, and then the second one, and then the third one. If you work on those things before you do all of the other things that fill your time, like emails and callback calls, um, chatting with someone on how their weekend was, before you put in the sand and the water, the things that are not as important, you're not going to get the big things done. You'll get to the end of the day and ask yourself, what did I do today? So you really have to do the big things first, especially that one thing that needs to be done first. I knew exactly what that thing was for me today, and it was done before 10 o'clock. It's not brain surgery. This is not rocket science. Yes, I may work with rockets, but it is not rocket science. This is basic, time management and organization. So start with the number one thing first. And again, if it's the only thing you got done and it would make you proud at the end of the day, that's what you need to schedule first. All right. And get that one thing done. The third thing I have for you is just try to contain the unnecessary things that are not value added. Again, tasks that are like emails, calling people back, things that are less important, maybe a report that's due days from now. That's not what needs to be done right this minute. Do the thing that needs to be done first. And the way to contain these not as necessary, not as important tasks is to actually put 2 blocks of time on your day. And I call them buffer blocks, which is from another book that I've read before called the 12-Week Year. Highly recommend the book if you haven't read it. But they recommend 1-hour blocks to do these non-essential tasks. Things that are still necessary, but really not essential for the day. But people send you emails throughout the day, and you don't have to constantly go look at them, because if you do, then you break your focus of the major things that you need to get done first, and you will only focus on cleaning out your inbox. Spend 2 1-hour blocks a day cleaning out your inbox, making phone calls back to people who you need to respond to them about something, and you pick what time it's important to you. So maybe you put that at 10 to 11, and then like 3 to 4. I put mine from 11 to noon or noon to 1, depending on the day, and it's normally when I will snack on something, and then also clean out my inbox and maybe make a few quick phone calls. So I do one in the middle of the day, and then I do one at the end of the day in case someone has emailed me in the last 3 or 4 hours and they need something by the end of the day. So those are the 2 blocks that I actually work on emails. And people who work with me probably haven't noticed that yet, but I don't respond to emails throughout the day. It's twice a day that I sit down and work through my emails. If I see something pop up that says urgent or it highlights in red because of some rules I have set in my inbox, I will take time to go look at those. But for the most part, even my boss, if he sends me something or our boss's boss sends something, he'll pick up the phone and say, hey, did you see so-and-so's email? So I don't have to keep watching my inbox all day. People will let me know if it's extremely important. I may get a text message or a phone call if it's something that's really important in my inbox. So those are the 3 major tips I would give you right now is 1, what are your top 3 to 5 things? Again, really hone in on the top 3. Do the first, but schedule those 3 things before 10 a.m. Use a calendar, use a Post-it note, whatever it is, and do it daily. Maybe schedule those things the night before you start work. I tend to look at my calendar Sunday night before I start for the week, and I plan Monday out on Sunday night, and then Tuesday morning on Monday night. Do you get that? And then the second tip is to start with the number 1 item. Remember, that's the one thing that if it was the only thing you got done today, you'd be proud of yourself. Make sure you get that one thing done first and then work through the list. And then the last one is contain those unnecessary, not as valuable added items to those buffer blocks twice a day. Maybe you need an hour and a half because you get excessive amount of email to clean out your inbox. Even when I was getting tons of emails and I was running a huge development program, I could usually clean out my inbox in less than 90 minutes. Usually within about an hour, I could do it. And I did it twice a day. And I still do it twice a day, even though I'm on a different development program now. So the bonus tip I have for you, though, is those last 3 items, see how much of it you can outsource. And then you even have less things to do that are non-value added, non-essential. And maybe you're doing something there like paying bills that you can automate, or I don't know what else. Other things that you may outsource. Maybe you have a secretary or an administrative assistant that can help you clean out your inbox of things that are unnecessary, things that she can or he can automatically delete for you, and you don't have to spend time doing that. Think about that. So that's the bonus tip here for you is think about outsourcing those non-essential tasks that we put in those buffer blocks anyways. All right. So your action for today, right at 10 minutes here, is to implement these 3 tips for the next 2 weeks and then report back, because I really want to hear from you all on how it goes. I want to hear how this impacts your day, and if you feel like you get more done in the day with just these 3 simple tips. And I would love to hear how that works out for you. Okay. So I'm trying to think what else I had for you guys today. That's the main thing I had for you all today. I hope this is of value. And of course, you guys always hear me say that if this is of value to you, I would love for you to like, comment, or subscribe if you're tuning in on YouTube. And just remember that if you're feeling overwhelmed or behind, you're in the right place and it's the right time. Okay. I hope you guys have a great week and a great Monday. And welcome back for those who are going back to school. I hope you're having a great first week. All right. Y'all take care.